Rain lashed against the windows. Thunder rattled the old house. Sarah huddled inside, unpacking boxes in the dim light. She had bought the Victorian manor at a steal. Now she wondered why. Every creak of the floorboard, every sigh of the wind sent shivers down her spine. She longed for the comfort of her old apartment. She just wanted to feel safe. The storm intensified, mimicking the turmoil in Sarah's heart. She missed her family, her friends, her old life. This house, with its looming shadows and musty smell, felt more like a tomb than a home. As Sarah unpacked a framed photo of her grandparents, a cold gust of wind extinguished the lamp on the table beside her. She was left in darkness, her heart pounding in her chest. Fear, sharp and cold, wrapped around Sarah like a shroud. She fumbled for her phone, its dim light a beacon in the sudden darkness. Seeking solace, she dialed her best friend's number, but only static answered her plea. She was truly alone. As another deafening clap of thunder shook the house, she noticed a pair of glowing eyes staring at her from the hallway. The eyes, twin emeralds in the darkness, narrowed. They belonged to a cat, its sleek black fur blending seamlessly with the shadows. It padded towards Sarah, each step silent and graceful. The cat stopped a few feet away, its gaze intense and unwavering. For a moment their eyes locked, and Sarah felt a strange sense of calm wash over her. This wasn't fear, she realized. This was different. This was connection. Bending down, Sarah held out her hand. The cat approached cautiously, its nose twitching. It brushed against her fingers, a soft, tentative touch. In that instant, Sarah knew she wasn't alone. This creature, this midnight intruder, was here to stay. "I'll call you Midnight," Sarah whispered, her voice trembling slightly. The cat, as if understanding, rubbed against her leg, a low purr rumbling in its chest. The storm raged on outside, but inside, a different kind of energy crackled, the beginning of an unusual friendship, forged in the heart of a haunted house. Midnight, with his emerald gaze and sleek black fur, seemed to hold back the shadows, a silent protector in a house full of secrets. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah settled into her new life. Midnight was her constant companion. He followed her from room to room, his emerald eyes watching her every move. At night, he curled up at the foot of her bed, a comforting presence against the darkness. But the house was never truly quiet. There were whispers in the dead of night, footsteps on the stairs when no one was around. Doors creaked open and shut on their own. One night, Sarah woke with a start. She felt a cold spot in the air next to her, a feeling of dread settling in her stomach. She could hear her name being whispered, a chorus of voices just beyond her hearing. Suddenly, Midnight sprang from the bed, his back arched, hissing at something unseen. The room grew colder. Terror, raw and primal, gripped Sarah's heart. Midnight's hiss grew louder, morphing into a guttural growl. He circled the spot where Sarah felt the cold, his eyes narrowed, teeth bared. The whispering intensified, turning harsher, angrier. Then, as quickly as it began, it stopped. The room warmed, the feeling of dread lifting. Midnight relaxed, returning to Sarah's side. He had faced the unseen and protected her from it. The incident confirmed Sarah's suspicions. Her house was haunted. But Midnight, her brave, enigmatic companion, stood guard. He seemed to sense the spirits growling at empty corners, his fur bristling at unseen presences. One particularly terrifying night, Sarah stumbled upon the source of the haunting. In the attic, amidst dusty trunks and cobwebs, she found a hidden room. The air in the room was frigid, thick with a palpable sense of despair. As Sarah stepped inside, she felt a bone-chilling coldness grip her. She saw them then, ghostly figures shimmering in the dim light. Terror threatened to overwhelm her, but then she saw Midnight. He stood before the figures, a tiny warrior facing overwhelming odds. He hissed, a sound full of defiance and fury. The ghostly figures recoiled, their forms flickering. They swirled around Midnight, attempting to intimidate him, to break his spirit, but he stood firm, his emerald eyes blazing with an otherworldly light. He was a protector, a guardian of the threshold, and he would not yield. He fought for Sarah, for their home, for their bond. Years passed. Sarah was no longer the scared young woman who had first stepped into the old house. She had learned to live with the strange occurrences, with the whispers and shadows. Midnight was her constant companion, her protector, her family. But time, even for a creature as extraordinary as Midnight, was a thief. He began to slow down, his once sleek black coat now streaked with white. One cold winter night, Midnight's purr, which had always been Sarah's comfort, was replaced by a rasping cough. He lay curled up by the fireplace, his emerald eyes, once so full of life, now clouded with pain. Sarah held him close, her heart breaking. She knew their time together was coming to an end. As dawn broke, casting long shadows across the room, Midnight took his last breath. Grief, sharp and unrelenting, washed over Sarah. She had lost her protector, her friend, her family. The house felt colder, emptier, without his presence. She buried him in the garden beneath his favorite apple tree. As she laid a single white rose on his grave, a single tear rolled down her cheek. She was truly alone now, the silence of the house a deafening reminder of her loss. Weeks turned into months. The house, once filled with Midnight's comforting presence, felt unbearably lonely. Sarah considered moving, finding a new home, a fresh start. But something held her back. It was Midnight's house too, and she couldn't bring herself to leave it. One stormy evening, as Sarah sat by the fire, lost in her memories, she heard a scratching sound at the back door. Opening the door, she found herself face to face with a tiny black kitten. It was the spitting image of Midnight, with the same sleek black fur and piercing emerald eyes. The kitten looked up at Sarah, and for a moment she could have sworn she saw a flicker of recognition in those eyes, a spark of Midnight's spirit. The storm raged on outside, but inside, warmth bloomed in Sarah's heart. "Hello," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. The kitten rubbed against her leg, purring softly. It was as if Midnight was back, reborn in this tiny creature. As Sarah welcomed the kitten into her home, she knew that Midnight's legacy of bravery and loyalty would live on. The cycle of guardianship had begun anew, a testament to the enduring bond between a woman and her extraordinary cat.